Prime Minister Modi had arrived in Jammu and Kashmir's Srinagar. He participated in the Viksit Bharat Viksit Jammu and Kashmir program as well. And during this program at the Bakshi Stadium in Srinagar, Prime Minister Modi dedicated to the nation around 6,400 rupees of crore of rupees across multifold development projects pertaining to agriculture, tourism and much more. The Prime Minister also addressed a mass gathering over thousands of eager locals taking to the streets hoping to see a glimpse of Prime Minister Modi. He also encouraged the vision of local for vocal. He also encouraged the idea of weddings in India and said that the vision of Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee has always been to bring these facts to life. We'll talk about the Prime Minister's visit with our guest. Joining us on the show is Mr. Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist. Rajan Khanna, author, also with us on the broadcast. Dr. Sharat Kohli, senior economist, with us on the show. Last but not the least, Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian, joining us on this important discussion as well. Dr. Kohli, I'll begin with you. Well, this was the Prime Minister's first visit after the abrogation of Article 370. On what the Prime Minister said today on Vocal for Local, and also emphasizing once again, Dr. Kohli, that marriages ought to be solicited in India. So the business of destination weddings remains to be a factor in our growth and our GDP. How do you rate of what has transpired in Jammu and Kashmir in the last few years, especially after the abrogation of Article 370? The development has been very, very rampant, and it also has been palpable. It's for there to all to see, including the opposition. But the fact of the matter is, if Jammu and Kashmir has to grow, you have to find investment, you have to find avenues for employment and generation of opportunities. Dr. Kohli.
Well, thank you so much, Vineet, and good afternoon to NewsX viewers. Good afternoon to all my fellow panelists. Well, we are seeing a very swift transformation happening in Kashmir since abrogation of Article 370. I remember the day the abrogation happened, I was on your channel, and we were only visualizing as to what's going to happen in the times to come, and we are now witnessing that. I mean, if we look at the tourism, look at the industrial investments, look at the way youth have evolved from, that patharbazi and all that. The youth were brainwashed, and they know that their future lies in development of the state. Their future does not lie in this, and they realize this sooner or later. They are coming in terms with the mainstream economy of the country. They are now shoulder to shoulder with any other youth from any other state. I mean, J&K no more is that tainted, isolated state. It's caught up with the rest of the country. And you look at we call something as the gross state domestic product, although J&K is a union territory, but we measure it in terms of GSDP. From then to now, Vineet, the GSDP has doubled. It used to be 1,60,000 crores. Today, it is over 3 lakh crores. So I think it's almost doubled. So what could not happen in all these years while J&K was affected by terrorism and other things, today has happened in these few years. We've seen doubling of the GSDP. Look at the number of tourists. More than 1 crore tourists visiting. And why the Prime Minister talked about, wed in India is because J&K is the place. People do go to those fancy locations in Europe and other places to hold destination weddings. Whereas here is a place within India. As they said, Hami Nastu, Hami Nastu, Hami Nastu. If there is heaven on earth, it is in Kashmir. And I think it is for the people. And every time we've seen, beneath a Prime Minister endorsing a tourist destination or a destination for this purpose, you find people flocking. So I can see the next load of bookings coming to J&K. The hotels there should be a happy lot. They should see their order books getting full sooner than later. And I think J&K is in for massive transformation. The weather, people are hardworking, there are artisans, there is talent. And the youth of Jammu and Kashmir is hungry for development. They're craving for development. And the right kind of platform that the government has provided now, the incidents relating to terrorism have come down. People are living a more peaceful life. They are living in the mainstream economy of the country. They are not, as I said, they are not an isolated state living with a different set of rules and regulations, with a different set of constitution. J&K today is as much a part of the mainstream economy as any other place, and that is propelling development. The best part, beneath which is happening, is that I am seeing a lot of industrial interest being shown in J&K. You can see a lot of industries, a lot of companies, a lot of corporates, a lot of those KPOs and BPOs coming and setting up in J&K in the times to come. And I think this is the kind of transformation which the government has visualized when the abrogation had happened. And I think this is culminating into action. This is culminating into growth. This is culminating into development. And I think the day is not far when J&K would be amongst the leading states as far as the GSDP is concerned, the gross state domestic product, or shall I call it the gross union territory domestic product. It will be amongst the top, regions which are growing in the country and which are in the mainstream. So I think Prime Minister visit always adds value. I'm waiting for a few of those invites from my friends and families for the weddings happening in J&K. And I'm craving to go myself to attend one of these weddings. I know it's beautiful. I've been there before. It's a marvelous place, and you can forget Switzerland, forget Alps, forget everything else. Here is a state which is going to show you the results within the country. Vineet.
Right. Joyita Basu, what do you make of the Prime Minister and his push for vocal for local? Obviously, it's understandable that a lot of deterrents did not let Jammu and Kashmir, become the value that it holds today, or the value that it had perhaps in the 70s and the 80s. We all remember, how every Bollywood movie was shot in Jammu and Kashmir. That hasn't happened, as much as it should. Do you think the message is very, very clear that it's all good now? We are headed in the right direction. The stone pelting is gone. The separatists and their ideologies are at bay. Jammu and Kashmir is a big part of not only Bharat, but a Viksit Bharat.
Well, I do not know whether all is good as yet. But yes, if you are asking about the direction, yes, we are on the right direction, absolutely. Because ultimately it is about mainstreaming of the population, which has started. And that is the reason why when you are looking at Mr. Modi's rally today, the number of people who are coming, and of course, there are critics who will say this is this is a mobilization, but then which rally takes place without a mobilization? So yes, what we have to do, we have to actually change the mindset also. So I'm not very certain whether they are, while tourism and all, everything is perfectly fine, while numbers are increasing, while life has become normal, we have to be very careful about this state in particular, primarily because there are so many elements that are still working in that state. Any misstep by us, by the rest of the country, it may kind of again push J&K towards some kind of a situation which is not normal. But yes, it is a huge opportunity when we are talking about not just vocal for local, everything. It's a huge opportunity that we have got, that the government has in terms of showing the Kashmiris about what a normal life is like, what life is like in the rest of India. And the more they realize that, there will be gradual mainstreaming. And that has already started. But yes, let us also not forget, this is the same state which drove out people in 1991. We have seen what has happened in that state over the years. So you see, we have to be very, very careful. Instead of, before we start saying, oh, everything is normal, well, the army is still there, terrorist attacks are still taking place. So yes, this is a huge opportunity. We should not squander it.
Gautam Mukherjee, the opportunity that presents itself in the kind of Kashmir and the evolution of Jammu and Kashmir in the last few years, what does it spell out for the average Kashmiri on ground in terms of development and growth?
Well, as you pointed out, the GDP has doubled. This is very eloquent in terms of the fact that it has taken under 5 years for this to happen. The people in POK are beggared by Pakistan. They have no facilities and they are bullied, and they are demonstrating frequently, and they feel worse and worse when they see the progress that J&K has been making. Will this lead to a mass movement over there for a bid to rejoin this part of Jammu and Kashmir? I wouldn't be surprised. It's a matter of how much of a military presence that the Pakistanis are using to keep them suppressed. which is the main reason POK isn't part of India. If it were up to the people of Gilgit-Baltistan and POK, they probably would like to rejoin with India. Now, in terms of the future, while I'm dwelling on POK, is because things cannot truly normalize till Pakistan is confined to its own borders. And with the kind of instability you've got in Pakistan, they keep trying to use JFK as a distraction. They keep trying to put terrorists inside the country, on the borders, infiltration, and propaganda. Of course, the first thing that Shahbaz Sharif said is Kashmir. And this is something that they thrive on, live on, the army in Pakistan as well. So, geopolitically, the right thing to do is to take back POK and look for the right opportunity to do so. Within the place, whatever traction separatists have are based on the fact that POK exists. Now, this is, I think, what Joyita was referring to, that we are not normal, we won't be normal for quite a while yet. We're making progress. I couldn't agree more. You are not normal if the normality is being maintained by a very heavy security presence. It is true that you don't have people throwing stones on the road, and the influence of the muftis and the Abdullahs has waned, but we have to see what happens when the elections come around in the valley. Will there be a breakthrough for the Lotus, or will it basically be a Jammu to the BJP and the valley, two forces which are not exactly favorable to the rest of India? So, economic progress is definitely a great incentive to seduce the people of Kashmir into thinking of themselves as Indians. Whether this is enough is still a question that's up in the air. Vinny.
Right, Mr. Khanna, the elections are close. What do they mean for Jammu and Kashmir?
See, today's Modi's speech was simply an epoch-making speech. Just try to see in early 90s, Mr. Modi going to Kashmir, very audaciously to challenge the, these terrorists who said they won't allow the tricolor to flutter in Lal Chowk. He went there, he fluttered the tricolor there, and today, see how many tricolors were there in waiting to welcome Mr. Modi. That is the paradigm change which has taken place in the valley. As far as the economic package is concerned, it was on expected lines. One thing which he mentioned today, earlier whenever our politicians used to go there, or maybe when Mr. Vajpayee went to Valley and he said, okay, we have the solution in the ambit of Jamhuriyat and Insaniyat. The difference today was he echoed the sentiments of the people. They were welcoming, and he told them, this is the progress and the development map of India, and you are part of it. I've been to Valley a couple of months ago. There I had a talk with the people. They said earlier, whenever the economic packages were given to the Valley, at that time, few families over there in the Valley, they used to appropriate the entire aid being given to the Kashmir Valley. Now they say that there is a tangible difference. This is palpable. Whenever the money comes to the valley, it is being spent for the welfare of the people. It is going to lead, directly to them. They know one thing. Once we have this completely seamless railway track from Baramulla to Kanyakumari, at that time, the most of the product of the Kashmir Valley will be reaching the southern tip of India within 2 to 3 days. So that is what the people now they are, imagining. Another thing over there, that is the kind of tourism potential what the valley is going to unleash. First of all, if people used to say Kashmir is Switzerland of India, I can right now prophesize maybe within next 4 to 5 years, people will start saying Switzerland is Kashmir of India. Because when you go to Switzerland, there are hardly 5, 6, 10 destinations where the tourist goes. Here, when you cross Kazigund Pass till Baramulla, minimum 50 packages are there. You go to Pahalgam, there is a cluster of valleys. You go to Arabal, you won't find more magnificent waterfalls than Arabal. You go to Gulmarg, is the best, skiing place, one of the best in the world. You go to Sonmarg, the most picturesque valley. There's a package in Kashmir Valley. So apart from that, spiritual tourism. Tourism is like, you go there, one of the oldest surviving temple in India is Shankaracharya temple, which was made 2300 ago by King Gopaditya. It is there. 2300 years ago, when the first Buddhist conference took place in Harwan, in the outskirts of Srinagar city, you go there, you see the ruins. If you just publicize it, you make good infrastructure right now from Srinagar city to these ruins which are existing in Harwan, hardly there is any proper road which takes you there. So if you make proper road there, I can tell you with a huge amount of confidence, tourists from this Buddhist track, from Central India, from China, from Japan, they will be, very enthusiastic to go to these places. So this is a package which is in waiting. And another angle which used to be of Pakistan. As I told you, earlier also there have been attempts of rapprochement with the various politicians, but always they were thwarted by Pakistan. Now we have reached the bar. 1948, when they came, we became defensive. We went to UNO. 1965, Operation Gibraltar took place. Again, we gave even Hajipir Pass, which we had gained. 1971, we could have crossed and we could have taken POJK. We never did that. 1999, there was standing instructions are lives, but you don't cross the LOC. But in 2016 onward, the entire paradigm was changed. At that time, we did a surgical strike. Previously, also surgical strike used to take place, but they were all surreptitious. We never made it public. Okay, we crossed the LOC. But that time, we made it public. We brought it to public domain. And with Balakot strike, when Pakistan was trying time and again telling the country was raising.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, sir. And let me bring in Dr. Kohli also once in to this conversation. Dr. Kohli, India is becoming the central most pivotal place for the startup culture and the startup ecosystem. In your opinion, how do you think Jammu and Kashmir can take advantage of this? Of course, when you talk about artisans and local arts, there's nothing that even comes close to the kind of work that you find in Jammu and Kashmir.
Well, beneath artisans, of course, there is tremendous talent, whether it is in the carpets or it is in making all those handicraft items. There is tremendous potential in Kashmir. And, even when Kashmir was disturbed, at that time also, the Kashmiri handicraft, I don't say that Kashmiri handicraft had disappeared. It had become subdued, but it had not disappeared. And today, when the youth of Kashmir are breathing in a free environment, the youth of Kashmir are looking at future. See, the difference between then and now is that the youth from Kashmir, when somebody used to meet, used to look with an eye of doubt. Today, the youth are getting respect, as Prime Minister rightly said. We know that the youth of Kashmir is like youth of any other promising state in India. They want a future. They want, either a startup. They want a job. They want to be trained. They want their skills to be upgraded, like any other youth in the country. So I think to drive a state, youth plays a very key role, and that's where these startups and artisans. In fact, I would go one step forward from what you said, Vineet. Not just the artisans, but also the startups which are based on technology, which are based on now brick and mortar model into manufacturing, into other things. I find a lot of Kashmiri youth coming forward. They travel to Delhi, they travel to Mumbai, they travel to Bangalore. They go back, they take the technology, they try and, they are creating a market for themselves within Kashmir. And this is the difference, because earlier there was no market in Kashmir because there were no tourists. The locals had disappeared. Kashmiri Pandits had relocated themselves. So there was basically no market. Only thing that was being talked about. And one more comment I would like to make about what one of my fellow panelists said, that if Kashmir is surviving under heavy bandobast of security, then to a certain extent we say that this calm has been sort of induced. This calm may not be natural. We will only know when the state grows. I completely agree. But I should also remark here that this security used to be there before abrogation also. I mean, it is not that before abrogation, Jammu and Kashmir was not loaded with security forces. It was there before as well. But despite the security, so the difference between then and now is, whereas I agree, security is there. Security in the times of before abrogation and security post abrogation. So the difference is that the state is breathing easy now. Despite the security, earlier state was not breathing easy, which was a very important aspect, Vineet, is which contributes to growth. And we are seeing this magic happening throughout the country, not just in J&K, is the development of infrastructure. See, when you develop the infrastructure, 1 rupee spent on infrastructure, I keep saying this, gives you an 8 times multiplier effect. So the roads are coming up, villages are upgrading themselves. There are smart villages coming up. Internet connectivity is getting better. Phone connectivity is getting better. I think our next step now, we are looking at POK already, that the part of J&K which was taken away from us should be coming back to us. And the moment that happens, Vineet, there'll be a complete Jammu and Kashmir, which will suddenly see a lot of propulsion towards a very, very high degree of growth. I mean, I don't think that day is too far. I mean, I can see Gautam giving a very sly smile, because Gautam also knows, that this is going to happen sooner or later. Maybe, we're just waiting for elections to happen. Prime Minister has already said, be prepared for some very big steps coming forward after the elections, very bold steps. And I feel retaking of POK is one of the steps which I'm waiting, and that will be the next.
All right, Dr. Kohli. All right, absolutely understood. I would like to thank all my guests.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.